Fluent Flow podcast. New videos every day. Let's learn English together.
Welcome back to The Deep Dive. This is the show, as you know, where we take a whole load of information, articles, research, maybe even your notes, and we do more than just summarize. Our job is to sift through it all, find those real golden nuggets of knowledge, those aha moments, and, the surprising facts that actually make you feel genuinely well-informed. We're giving you that shortcut to understanding so you walk away feeling enlightened, not overwhelmed. Today, we are diving deep into something I think resonates with almost everyone learning English. It's that often discussed, sometimes worried about topic, English accents and pronunciation. We've got some really fantastic source material here, all focused on helping English learners speak more clearly and, importantly, with more confidence. And what we found, honestly, it's practical, insightful, and actually really empowering.
It really is. Our mission today for this deep dive is basically to unpack the practical, actionable stuff from these sources. We want to give you, the listener, a kind of shortcut, a way to understand what really helps improve spoken English without getting, bogged down in too much detail or feeling like you suddenly need a PhD in linguistics. It's all about clarity and confidence.
Okay, let's unpack this then right from the start, because the sources kick off with something that seems a bit like a contradiction at first, but it's actually a really key point. Is an accent, is it a problem, something you need to fix?
Right.
Or is it actually more like a badge of honor, part of who you are?
That's a great starting point. And it's fascinating how the material draws a really clear line right away. It separates just having an accent from the impact that accent might have. The sources state very clearly, your accent is tied to your identity, your origin, your story. And the message is loud and clear. Having an accent is completely okay. It's not a defect.
Right.
It's part of you. Your linguistic fingerprint, you could say.
Yeah.
There's nothing inherently wrong with having one. Often adds richness, actually.
That's such a relief to hear stated so clearly, isn't it? It takes off that pressure, that feeling that you need to sound like someone else. It validates your background. But there's always a but, isn't there?
Yes. There often is.
The sources then pivot. They say an accent becomes problematic if, and this is the crucial word, if it gets in the way of understanding. So it's not the accent itself, but its effect. Its practical effect on communication.
Exactly. And if you connect that to the bigger picture, it just boils down to effective communication. The goal isn't perfection. It's not even necessarily sounding native, whatever that even means anymore. Instead, the sources say the focus should be on clear pronunciation, natural rhythm, and confidence.
Okay.
Which then leads to the big question, right? How do you actually get that clarity, that ease of understanding without feeling like you're losing yourself, without sacrificing your individuality? It's a balance.
A really important balance, because when the sources talk about wanting people to understand you the first time you speak, that's not just about avoiding a quick sorry.
No, it goes much deeper.
Think about work, for example. If you're in a meeting, a crucial one, and you constantly have to repeat yourself, it can maybe subtly undermine how credible you seem or just make you feel less sure of yourself. It's frustrating.
Definitely frustrating.
Yeah.
For everyone involved, potentially.
Or even just hanging out with friends. If you're often misunderstood, maybe you start speaking less. You withdraw a bit.
Yeah, you might miss out on connections, on just, easy back and forth.
So the goal is really to reduce that friction. Let your message land clearly the first time.
Precisely. And the underlying message here, for you, the learner, is really one of empowerment. It's about making sure your unique voice is heard clearly. It's about cutting down those moments of miscommunication that can feel, honestly, disheartening.
Yeah.
And by doing that, you build confidence, real solid confidence. It's not about changing who you are. It's about improving the delivery of your message, removing barriers, not erasing identity, freeing your voice.
Okay, so goal. Clarity and confidence while keeping your identity intact. How do we actually do that? And this is where it gets really practical and I think quite clever. The sources don't say, learn every single sound in English perfectly. That would be overwhelming.
Totally overwhelming. Discouraging, even.
Instead, they suggest focusing on the tricky ones. Those specific sounds that, if you get them wrong, can actually change the meaning of a word entirely.
It's a super efficient approach, a strategic approach.
Like linguistic triage.
Yeah, kind of. Instead of this broad scattergun approach, it's about hitting the high-impact areas, the places where a small change gives you the biggest bang for your buck in terms of being understood.
Maximum return on effort. I like that.
It pinpoints the sounds that cause the most common misunderstandings in, everyday chat.
Yeah.
Smart practice.
And they give great examples. Let's start with the classic, the infamous TH sound.
Yes. The bane of many learners.
Because it just doesn't exist like that in so many other languages, right?
Exactly. Your mouth literally isn't used to making that shape.
The sources mention words like think, thank, this, that, common words, and the technique they suggest. It sounds simple. Place your tongue gently between your teeth.
Gently is key. You don't need to bite it.
Right. It feels weird at first, maybe a bit exposed.
Like you're sticking your tongue out slightly.
But it works. And they show why it matters. If you say think, but it sounds like sink.
Whoops. Suddenly you're talking about plumbing, not philosophy.
Or this comes out as dis. Different meaning entirely. Communication breakdown.
That minimal pair think versus sink shows it perfectly. One tiny tongue adjustment changes everything. And it's worth remembering, as you mentioned, the TH has two versions, right?
Oh, yeah, good point. The unvoiced one.
Like in think or three, just air, a hiss.
And the voiced one?
Like this or that, where you feel a vibration. Breeze.
And people often substitute, don't they? Like S or T for the unvoiced.
Or D or Z for the voiced one. So this becomes dis, mother becomes muzzer.
Yeah. So practicing both is pretty crucial. High impact, like you said.
Definitely. Nail that TH, both versions, and you instantly clear up a lot of potential confusion.
Okay, moving on. Another tricky pair. R versus L.
Another classic challenge.
Think about right versus light, or road versus load.
Big difference in meaning.
Huge. And the sources give clear physical tips.
Yeah.
For R, round your lips slightly.
Yeah, like you're about to whistle, but don't. Soft rounding. The tongue pulls back a bit too. Importantly, it doesn't touch the top.
Right, the tongue curls back, doesn't touch. And for L,
that's all about the tongue tip. Touches the roof of your mouth, just behind your front teeth. La, la, la.
Plum, feel that contact. Whereas R is more like floating.
Exactly. Different mouth shape, different tongue action.
And the confusion. If you tell someone to turn light,
they might start looking for a switch, not a direction.
Or ask for help with the road instead of the load. Just chaos.
It seems small, but those RL mistakes can really throw a listener off, even if they figure it out eventually from context. Why make them work so hard?
Good point. Clear pronunciation makes it easy for them.
It's about being considerate to your listener, in a way.
Okay, next pair. V versus B.
VB. Yep.
Maybe seems less obvious, but still crucial. Words like very versus berry, or vet versus bet.
Also common words you use all the time.
The technique for V. Top teeth gently touch the bottom lip. Feel the buzz. V, 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 V.
V, V, V. Yeah. There's friction, airflow.
And for B, lips press together completely, then release. Ba-ba.
A clean stop and release.
Yeah.
No continuous airflow like V.
So if you say, I'm very hungry.
Sounds like you have a craving for strawberries, maybe. Not just very hungry.
Or mixing up vet and bet could lead to some really weird conversations. I need to take my dog to the vet.
Right, or I lost the vet I made. It just doesn't compute immediately.
It's that subtle difference, teeth on lip for V, lips together for B, that makes all the meaning difference.
It's amazing how these small physical adjustments carry so much information.
Okay, let's shift from consonants. Vowels. The sources highlight short versus long vowels.
Oh, this is a huge one. Absolutely critical in English.
The classic example they give, ship versus sheep.
Perfect example.
Oh.
Ship, sheep. Hear the difference.
Yeah. Ship is short, clipped, like in sit or lip.
A small sound, as the source puts it. Quick.
And sheep is long, drawn out, E, like in seat or leap.
A big sound. Held longer. And the mouth position is often a bit different too, more like a smile for E.
And getting this wrong, if you're talking about a boat.
But it sounds like a fluffy animal. Instant confusion. Maybe amusing, but still confusing.
Or think about live, I live here, versus leave, I want to leave. Short heaves versus long E.
Or bit versus beat. Sit versus seat. Fill versus feel. So many pairs.
And it's not just length, is it? It's the quality of the vowel sound too.
Exactly. It's often called vowel tenseness. The long vowels are generally tense, meaning more muscle effort, and the short ones are lax.
This distinction is tricky because many languages just don't differentiate vowels in quite the same way.
Correct. The length or tenseness might not change the meaning in their native language, so their ear isn't trained for it, and their mouth isn't used to making the distinction consistently.
So focusing on these vowel pairs like ship, sheep is another high return activity.
Absolutely. It clarifies so many common words.
Okay, the last of the tricky five mentioned. T and D clarity.
Right. T and D.
Examples like better, little, ladder. And here the sources make a really interesting point about native speakers.
Especially American English speakers.
We often connect sounds, making the T in the middle of words like better or water sound more like a soft D.
It's called a flap T or tap, like better, water, little.
Yeah. Or ladder already has a D, but it's that same quick tap sound.
Exactly. It happens when a T or D falls between vowel sounds, generally.
But the advice for learners isn't copy that flap sound immediately.
No, not at first. The advice is focus on clarity first. Make a clear T sound, tip of the tongue taps behind teeth, puff of air. Make a clear D sound, same tap, but voiced vocal cords vibrate.
Even if it sounds a bit slower or more deliberate than a native speaker.
Yes, because clarity trumps sounding native initially. If you make a clear T and better, everyone understands you. If you try the flap to get it wrong, it might sound like another word or just be unclear.
Like metal versus metal. In fast speech, they can sound almost identical with that flap.
Exactly. But if you consciously make a crisp, unvoiced T for metal and a clear voiced D for metal, the distinction is obvious.
Get the basics clear first, then worry about the subtleties like flapping later.
Precisely. Build that foundation of clear articulation. It guarantees understanding.
So this whole approach, focusing on these, let's call them 5 key areas, TH, RL, VB, short, long vowels, TD clarity.
It's about maximum return on effort, like we said. Pinpointing these means faster improvement in intelligibility.
And that builds confidence, right? Because you start getting understood more easily.
Absolutely. You hear fewer, what? It is S, or sorry, it S. And that feels good. It motivates you to keep going. It's a positive feedback loop.
Okay, so we know what sounds to focus on, but how do we practice them effectively, especially when English spelling is, well, let's be honest,
A bit of a mess sometimes.
Yeah, that leads to the next big point from the sources. You have to learn to think in sounds, not in words. Or maybe think in sounds, not spelling.
This is such a crucial insight because, as the sources point out, English spelling can be seriously misleading. It's not phonetic, not consistently anyway.
You mentioned the OUH example earlier. Through is through, rough is rough.
Bow is bow, dough is dough, cough is cough, though is though. It's wild.
How can anyone guess the sound from that spelling?
Exactly. Or think about words like island with the silent S, or no with the silent K, or the different sounds he can make. Read, present tense, sounds like read versus read, past tense sounds like read. Or great, sounds like great, versus threat, sounds like threat.
Relying on spelling is like navigating with a map drawn by someone who likes puzzles.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It sets you up for confusion and mispronunciation.
Yeah.
You internalize the wrong sound based on the letters.
So if spelling is unreliable, what's the fix? How do you train your brain to think in sounds? What does that actually mean in practice?
The sources lay out a clear, maybe slightly counterintuitive process. Step 1, listen carefully to native speakers, and not just passively hearing, actively listening, tuning into the specific sounds, the rhythm, the melody of the speech.
Okay, listen actively.
Then step 2, imitate what you hear. Try to copy it exactly.
And here comes that crucial sequence they mentioned.
Yes, hear it, repeat it, then read it.
Hear, repeat, then read. That feels backwards for many people, doesn't it?
Totally. Most learners, especially if they learn through reading, see a word first, try to guess the pronunciation based on spelling rules, which are often wrong. Say it, and then maybe hear it.
Read, say, hear.
This flips it. Hear first, get the correct sound model in your ear. Repeat, immediately connect that sound to the physical feeling of making it in your mouth. Then look at the word.
So you're bypassing the potentially confusing spelling interfering with the sound.
Exactly. You're creating a direct link between the sound and the articulation before the visual representation, the spelling, can mess things up.
It's like learning music by ear first.
Perfect analogy. You get the tune, the rhythm, the feel right first. Then you look at the notes on the page. It retrains your instincts.
Makes a lot of sense. And to really help with that hear it, repeat it process, the sources highlight a specific technique.
Yes, a very powerful one. Shadowing.
Shadowing. Can you define that simply?
Simplest definition. Repeat what a native speaker says immediately, like an echo.
Like walking in their verbal shadow.
Exactly. And the benefits are huge because it trains your ear and mouth at the same time, intensely. You're not just practicing sounds in isolation. You're absorbing and mimicking the rhythm, the intonation, the rise and fall of the voice, the stress patterns on words, the way sounds link together, the whole flow of speech.
It's more holistic than just drilling word lists.
Much more. It gets you closer to the musicality of the language.
And the sources give clear steps on how to do it effectively, right? It's not just random echoing.
No, there's a method. First, find a short audio clip, a podcast sentence, a line from a TV show.
Maybe even a line from this deep dive.
Perfect. Then play just one sentence or even a short phrase.
Okay, play one chunk.
Pause the audio.
Pause.
Then repeat it exactly as you heard it, and they emphasize. Try to match the same speed, rhythm, emotion.
So it's not just the words, but the way they're said, the delivery.
Yes. Are they asking a question?
Yeah.
Is he excited? Calm. Try to capture that too.
Okay, listen, pause, repeat, trying to match everything. Then comes the step I think people often skip.
The crucial one. Record yourself and listen back.
Oh, why is that so vital? Why can't I just trust my own ears as I'm doing it?
Because of how we perceive our own voice. When you speak, you hear your voice differently than others do. It's partly through air conduction, but also through bone conduction vibrations in your skull.
Right, so it sounds deeper or richer inside your own head.
Often, yes. Recording yourself gives you objective feedback. It lets you hear what your listeners actually hear.
Which can be surprising.
Sometimes jarring. You might think you nailed that R sound, but the recording reveals it still sounds a bit like an L. Or you thought you matched the rhythm, but you were actually much slower or flatter.
So it's like holding up an auditory mirror.
Exactly, an unbiased mirror. Without it, you could be practicing mistakes over and over without realizing it. It's essential for accurate self-correction.
Okay, let's try that quick example again, like the sources suggest. I'll say a few short sentences. You, the listener, try shadowing right after me. Ready? I want to improve my English. Pause for listener. It's not about being perfect. Pause for listener. Just be clear and confident. Pause for listener.
Nice. And what's really happening there as you shadow is active mimicry. It's not passive listening. You're engaging your whole vocal system, tongue, lips, jaw, breath, and your listening system intensely, coordinating them.
Like a full workout for your speaking skills.
Precisely. An integrated workout.
And speaking of workouts, that leads beautifully into the next big idea from the sources. Thinking of your mouth like a muscle.
Yes. Your articulator's lips, tongue, jaw.
To make these new English sounds consistently, you literally need to practice moving your mouth in new ways. It's physical training.
It's such a great analogy, like going to the gym. If you want to lift heavier weights, you need to train those specific muscles. Similarly, your mouth might need training for English sounds. Your native language might not use the same range of motion or the same specific muscle movements.
Like some languages involve less jaw movement, right? Or the tongue stays in a different default position.
Exactly. Maybe your language keeps the lips more rounded generally, or maybe flatter. English often requires quite dynamic movements, opening the jaw wide for sounds like ha in father, rounding the lips for oo in food, spreading them for e in see, complex tongue gymnastics for r and l.
So if those movements aren't in your native language's repertoire,
they'll feel awkward, unnatural, maybe even tiring at first. It's not failure, it's just new physical skills needing development, building new muscle memory for your mouth.
Okay, so if my mouth is a muscle needing a workout, what are the specific exercises? What tips do the sources give?
They give some really practical ones. First, open your mouth more than in your native language.
That seems common advice. Why is it important?
Because many English vowels, especially, require a more open jaw position for clarity than sounds in other languages might. If you keep your mouth too closed, vowels can sound muffled or merged together. Think cat, cat, cat. They need distinct mouth shapes.
Okay, open up more. What else?
Exaggerate the sounds when you practice.
Like really overdo it. Why?
Yes. Think of it like stretching before exercise. Exaggerating helps you feel the extremes of the mouth position, the tongue placement, the lip shape. It builds awareness and control. When you then speak normally, it's easier to hit the correct, more subtle target because you've explored the full range. It solidifies that muscle memory.
Makes sense. Over practice to make normal practice easier.
Exactly. Another tip, watch yourself in the mirror.
See what your mouth is actually doing.
Yes. Visual feedback is powerful. You can see if your lips are rounded when they should be spread, or if your tongue is visible for a TH sound. Connect the look and feel to the sound.
Okay. And the final tip, inevitably.
You guessed it. Record your voice and compare it to a native speaker. That objective feedback loop again. Hear the difference, adjust, try again.
It keeps coming back to that self-assessment.
Because it's arguably the most effective tool for refinement.
Now, doing all this, opening your mouth wide, exaggerating sounds, maybe talking to yourself in the mirror, it can feel, well,
strange, awkward. embarrassing even.
Yeah. And the sources address that directly, don't they?
They do, with a wonderfully reassuring message. It might feel strange at first. That means you're doing it right.
I love that. It reframes the awkwardness.
It does. It tells you that feeling strange isn't a sign you're failing. It's a sign you're actually pushing beyond your old habits. Yeah. You're rewiring your brain and your muscles. It's like learning to ride a bike, wobbly and weird at first. But that's part of the process of finding balance. Embrace the strangeness. It means change is happening.
Okay, fantastic. So we know what to practice. Tricky sounds, how to approach it, think sounds, shadow, mouth muscles. But how do we fit this into real life? How do we make it stick? This is where the sources get really encouraging about time commitment.
They stress you don't need hours and hours.
Which is music to many people's ears, they say. It's just 10-15 minutes a day can make a real difference.
It's incredibly liberating, isn't it? It makes it feel achievable.
Totally. And why is that small, consistent effort so effective?
It taps into the power of compound effort. Think about it. 15 minutes every single day adds up way faster and sinks in much deeper than one frantic 2-hour session every couple of weeks.
Like saving small amounts of money, you said.
Exactly. Your brain and mouth need that regular reinforcement to consolidate the learning, to make those new pathways strong. Consistency is the absolute key. It embeds the habits.
And they even outline a simple daily routine, making it super concrete.
Yeah, really manageable structure. First, just listen to English.
Passive input. TV, podcasts, YouTube. Just absorbing the sounds.
Right. Build familiarity. Then, move to active practice. Shadow 3-5 sentences.
That folk-aid mimicry we talked about. Train mouth and ear together.
Then, targeted practice. Practice minimal pairs. Ship, sheep, bit, beat, live, leave.
Hitting those tricky sound distinctions directly, sharpening the focus.
Followed by the feedback loop. Record one sentence and listen back.
Immediate check-in. How did I actually sound?
And finally, a step I really like too. Speak out loud to yourself about anything.
Just talk to the wall, to your cat.
Yeah. Narrate what you're doing, describe your room, talk about your day. It's low pressure, unrestricted practice. You're just getting used to producing English sounds freely, applying what you've learned without fear of making mistakes in front of others. Builds fluency and confidence.
That whole routine sounds doable in 15 minutes. Listen a bit, shadow a bit, drill a pair, record one thing, talk to yourself.
Totally doable. And the core message behind it all.
The mantra.
Consistency beats perfection. It's such a vital mindset for language learning, or really any skill. Chasing some vague idea of, building you back up. They say, every time you practice, your accent gets a little clearer. Every time you speak, you grow more confident.
Focusing on that incremental progress, celebrating the small wins.
Exactly. Not waiting for some magical finish line, but recognizing the value in the consistent effort itself. Each step forward matters.
And those final encouragements are just brilliant, simple takeaways.
Be proud of your voice. Which circles back beautifully to the start, doesn't it? Your voice, your accent, it's part of your story. Own it, even as you work on clarity.
Yeah, then be brave, speak out loud.
Takes courage. Push past the comfort zone. Experiment. That's where learning happens.
And finally, be consistent. Even 5 minutes helps.
Reinforcing that core message. Every little bit counts. Don't let "I don't have an hour" become an excuse for doing nothing. 5 minutes is better than 0 minutes.
And for you, our listener, the person wanting to get informed quickly, thoroughly, but without feeling swamped, this mindset piece is everything. It takes all the practical stuff we discussed, the sounds, the shadowing, the muscle work, the routine, and it makes it sustainable. It makes it human.
Right. It ensures the knowledge isn't just academic, but something you can actually apply with patience, with courage, and with growing confidence, knowing that the process itself is valuable.
It's really about empowering you to use your voice effectively and confidently in English. Wow. Okay, what an incredibly practical and I think really encouraging deep dive that was. We've really unpacked the whole accent and pronunciation thing, moving past good or bad to that crucial balance of identity and clarity.
Understanding the why behind it all.
We saw how focusing strategically on those tricky 5 areas, TH, RL, VB, vowels, TD, can give you a massive boost in intelligibility.
Maximum return for your effort.
We explored why thinking in sounds, not spelling, is key, and how shadowing is such a powerful tool for that.
Hear it, repeat it, then read it.
And understanding the mouth as a muscle, needing specific, sometimes exaggerated practice, plus the mirror.
Don't forget the mirror and the recording.
And tying it all together. Consistency over perfection. Small daily steps. Patience. Bravery. Confidence.
What's really striking is how the sources managed to take something potentially huge and scary improve my English pronunciation and break it down into these manageable, empowering steps, it really shifts the perspective. It suggests that getting clearer in English isn't just about sounding different. It's actually about unlocking a more effective, more confident version of yourself as a communicator.
Ensuring your ideas, your personality, your message, it all comes through clearly.
Exactly, letting your voice be truly heard.
Well, I really hope this deep dive has given you some fresh ideas, maybe some aha moments, and definitely some practical things you can try out today or tomorrow morning. Maybe just pick one of those tricky sounds to focus on this week. Or try shadowing just 3 sentences tonight. Think about how these insights might adjust your own practice. Thank you, as always, for joining us here on The Deep Dive. We love digging into this stuff and making you feel genuinely well-informed without the overwhelm. Join us next time as we continue to explore, unpack, and shed light on complex topics, one deep dive at a time. Until then, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep speaking.
Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.